Well, hello and welcome to Recall Game Exploits. Don't ask me what that voice was about there. I don't know. Before we start, this is Alien Breed Impact. I decided to use this footage as it's closest to the subject matter I'm going to be talking about in this video. It's a nice top-down shooter, free to play on the PC. It's pretty good. Bit of survival horror, probably best played co-op. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Probably worth checking out. Anyway, hi. Basically, there's some news. I say news. We kind of knew about this, but I'm just excited because like the first real legitimate game footage, gameplay, points of views, all that has came out today of a game being developed by Creative Assembly. It's basically called Alien Isolation. And before I go into it, I'm just gonna reel off a load of stuff like people do. So skip forward if you like, whatever. Right, so we had the abysmal game come out, which was Aliens Colonial Marines, and everyone thought that was the nail in the coffin for the Alien franchise as far as games went, and Alien vs Predator has done that for films, unfortunately, which is a shame. It's a real shame because it doesn't seem like the franchise has been handled really well, and like since Alien 3. Now, a lot of people hate that film. I personally enjoy it. I think it's a really good film. Personally, I think that though it's nowhere near to the standard of Alien and Aliens, I personally feel that it is a great ending to Ripley's story, like the story of Ripley. So you could consider Aliens to Alien 3 as the Ripley trilogy, and then they should have continued it by going back to LV-426, a bit like what they'd done with Colonial Marines, but obviously handled much better. It would have sort of been like, I guess, Aliens 2, but yeah, done well by James Cameron, for instance. Anyway, so after all this waiting for years and years and years and years and years for something to come from this, we had the announcement of Prometheus and Aliens. So I'm a massive Aliens fan, so I'm just gushing loads of. My head is just exploding right now. And obviously I was unbelievably hyped. I've been unbelievably hyped since back when they first announced Aliens Colonial Marines for I think it was the early PS2 era, and it never happened. There was at least 2 Aliens Colonial Marines games. They shared the same name, different developers, different stories, and none of them came out. And then Gearbox, who was actually, aside from Duke Nukem Forever, was a very, very good developer. They'd had lots of experience with first-person shooters. They had Brothers in Arms and Borderlands under their belt. There was no reason why Aliens Colonial Marines couldn't succeed, and yet they just didn't give 2 fucks and pumped out a load of fertilizer with the help of a few other companies that they paid to do it behind Sega's back, and there was a lawsuit thing and everything else that I've reported about before since the release of Aliens Colonial Marines. But suffice to say, it was one of my most anticipated games ever, and I got dicked on. I got the collector's edition and everything. I was one of the ones that got really, really, really badly dicked on. I've still got the collector's edition, actually. I've got the little figurine just sitting there on my desk right now because I still love Aliens. It's just a shame that that's associated with that particular piece of fertilizer. Anyway, back to the actual subject. We knew for quite some time, developed by Creative Assembly, being published by Activision, were making an Alien game. They weren't going to be aliens like with the Colonial Marines and the guns and the bar. It was going to be an Alien game, as in a horror game or an RPG or some kind of strategic video. I'm not really sure. I was leaning more towards the solo, isolated survival horror experience. And guess what? It's happening. We knew that the game was coming. We didn't quite know what it was based on. Survival horror based on the original 1979 Alien film. It's hard to believe that those films are that old, but they are. They stand up well to the test of time. And I've seen the footage of the game, and I've heard the points of views of the people that have got a 45-minute long hands-on with the game, and it looks like it's got so much potential. They're planning for the game to be around 10 hours long, and some people are worried that 10 hours long, in the way that this is set, is going to drag. Fingers crossed that's not the case. Now, if you are into Aliens, you'll go into like this bit. If you're not, then you're going to get some history. game is set like this, and they've ignored everything that happened after Alien to a point. There is some stuff that they sort of took from Aliens, but bear with me. So we had Alien, and obviously they find the ship, they get the alien on the Nostromo, very fast forward all the way through the film, chestburster, alien grows, alien murders everybody, and it's just Ripley and the cat. They get into the lifeboat, they get off the ship explodes via the self-destruct nuclear awesome, and she ends up blasting the grey alien drone, whatever they want to call it, out the airlock. Now, bear in mind this game is ignoring drones, warriors, Predatorians, queens, all the rest of it. It's just the Xenomorph, first film, it's all they're going with. Then Ripley is left floating through space for 80 years in cryo with her cat Jonesy, that piece of ninja shit, and she gets discovered obviously, and then we see in Aliens by a Deep Space Salvage team. She finds out that her daughter in the director's cut, Amanda Ripley, has grown old and died, and I don't think she had any children or anything. Basically that was it. She missed her, I think it was her 11th birthday. Said that she'd be back for her 11th birthday, never managed it because of the Xenomorph and the murder. And that's all we know of Amanda Ripley. So all anyone's ever seen of her has never been delved into with books, comics, games, films, whatever, nothing's been done. So Creative Assembly have gone, okay, well we've got our base for a story. 15 years after what happens on Nostromo, Amanda Ripley's been searching for a few years as she's got older to try and find out what happened to Lieutenant Ellen Ripley. Amanda ends up becoming an engineer for Weyland-Yutani, and a space station, I can't remember the name right now, finds the black box which survived the nuclear explosion, because black boxes can take a ton of shit. They find it floating around and they salvage it, and then they send a message to the company saying we've got this black box recorder. So they ask Amanda Ripley, as she's an experienced engineer, if she wants to go on a sort of salvage fact-finding mission to find out what happened with the Nostromo, her mother, and the black box recording. If you ask me, that's a bit of a conflict of interests. They wouldn't send someone that close to the victims to go do that particular job, but whatever. It's games and movies. Fuck it, let them do it. So Amanda goes to the space station with her crew, and they've got all the people there, and there's a bit of an emergency situation. Don't really know what's going on. The residents of the space station, they're arguing amongst themselves about what to do, and I don't know what happens at this point, but basically Amanda gets separated, hence the isolation. That's pretty much where the real game starts. So you just had a little hint into what's going on. Obviously there's an alien on the space station. Fuck knows how it got there, don't ask me. But an alien has somehow gone to the space station. I'm really interested to see how they work that one into the plot. I really am. And the main things that are out to kill you is basically the environment, because real shit's going wrong with the station, and the alien. But the way it works is it's a bit of a stealth game, because the alien has senses, and if it detects you, it lets out a screech, goes after you, or it can just sort of sneak up behind you. And also, so you're equipped with nothing but a motion tracker, a blowtorch, and a hacking tool, I believe, and that's it. So you got your little PDA computer thing to get through doors or whatever, and a blowtorch and a flashlight that you probably won't use because you're not going to want to be shining that towards the alien because it will murderize you. From what you see of it, it's really quite intimidating because the alien doesn't fuck about. If it gets you, you are dead. And that's exactly how it should be. This is not your general cannon fodder. This is not the kind of thing that we got in Aliens Colonial Marines, where you'd have 30 odd aliens run after like two guys and they just tank through the entire lot of them. But there's various things that can go wrong, like the gravity. I think there's a clip where the gravity goes out in the game, and it looks incredible. It looks really, really good. It has the potential to not only be a good Aliens game or Alien game, but it has the potential to actually revive the survival horror genre in the mainstream market, because at the moment, since Resident Evil just decided to, Resident Evil 4, when it comes to the mainstream market, it's like, well, we've got these survival horror franchises, they're either dead, being made as cheap budget titles, like the recent Silent Hills, or they're being turned into action games. Shit, we've got enough action games. If you want an action game, you can go buy Call of Duty or Battlefield or fucking Halo or Gears of War, something. Tomb Raider, even, at this point, for fuck's sake. They completely got rid of the whole exploration and tomb raiding of the Tomb Raider genre and just put you on a fucking island and done a third-person Far Cry 3. Pretty much. Oh yeah, we're a female antagonist and there's this journey where she sort of goes, oh my god, I killed a deer. Oh my god, I'm like, oh well, there's loads of guys. I'm going to slaughter a lot of them and slit their throats and stuff and not even give two fucks about it. I don't like this whole actionification of the mainstream market at the moment. I mean, I like action games, I love action games, but there is a point where you get tired of them, and it's really interesting to see an Alien game, like a franchise that I love, coming out as a horror game, and I would compare it, from the footage that I've seen, I would compare it to Amnesia. And Amnesia is a game where you do sort of walk around, solve some problems or whatever. If you see or get seen by something, you fucking either do one of two things. You hide or you fucking run. And that's pretty much what happened in the footage that I saw of Alien Isolation. It was hide or fucking run. And even if you run, you're probably not going to get away. But there is an interesting crafting element as well in the game where you can set up traps, you can find items in the environment, some kind of blockade, something to slow the alien down when it's on your ass. Whatever that may be, like a small homemade flamethrower or something, I have no idea. But that's sort of intriguing as well. It would be interesting to see how they managed to keep the suspense and the game going and exciting for a full 10 hours. Personally, I don't think it will end up being 10 hours. But we'll see. There are other NPC characters in the game. Hope that they get some player NPC interaction going on there. I don't know, maybe even some dialogue trees, because one of the main themes from Aliens and Alien was the whole interaction between the people trying to survive, the decisions they made and all that. I mean, Aliens, it's not a full action film all the way through. For the most part, it's like you get an hour of build-up, an hour of nothing. And it's just hinting towards things going wrong, or how things have gone wrong. And then the Marines get there, and then there's not really much going on. They find the little girl, and da-da-da-da. They have their little firefight at the alien hive below the processing plant. Atmosphere processor, that's the one. Yeah, atmosphere processing plant. And then they try and get off via, like, the dropship. That goes wrong, and then it's like another 3/4 of an hour of not much happening. Then trying to decide how they're going to survive. And the film plays out. And Alien, 90% of that film is them trying to figure out what the fuck this thing is and how they're going to get rid of it. And there's not really that much action. It's more suspense and waiting for something to happen. And when something does happen, it punches you in the face like a sledgehammer. So I hope they kind of get that element in the game, but obviously you're going to want more than just human interaction going on for 10 hours. It will get fucking boring. It will turn into like a Final Fantasy type game where you're just doing a whole lot of fuck all for a long time. So yeah, fingers crossed on this game. It looks like it's got so much potential. I really hope it goes well. Creative Assembly, please don't fuck this up. Please, 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 from an Alien fan, do not fuck this up. We need something to bring this back because it's such a good story, such a good universe, and it's just a shame that it's been handed and palmed off to such amateur pricks to make such absolute shit out of it. But yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you for watching. It's been really cool Game Exploits. Do that stuff that every old child tells you to do. And, I'll speak to you soon. Bye.